So, welcome back. This is the second annual podcaster holiday party. We've invited a few more people this year. Last year it was just Jerry and Andy and Mr. Boettcher and myself. Jerry and Andy, of course, being on defensive security. Welcome, Jerry and Andy, to the show.
Hello.
Thanks for having us.
Yep.
Thank you for having us.
This year,
happy holidays and all that. I'm trying to be nice, and you're jumping. Fine, go ahead.
You're never nice, bro. You're never nice, bro. Yeah. So
I can act.
So this year we added two more people. We got Edgar Rojas and Paul Jorgensen from PVC Security Podcast.
That's right. Yes. PVC Sec.
Yes.
All the way, baby.
Is it? I thought Paul Coggin was like a semi co-host of y'all's because he was at our thing at DerbyCon. Bubba Sec, yeah. So, yeah, of course, Andy and Jerry are on the Defensive Security Podcast. For those of you who don't know, Brian and myself are on Breaking Down Security Podcast. We did this last year with Jerry and Andy because, frankly, we wanted more people listening to our podcast and less to theirs. I
feel used. I feel dirty. I feel like high school.
Well, high school? Well, high school was a tough time for everybody, wasn't it? Probably not.
But that's fine. Feel free to ride our coattails like I ride Jerry's coattails. We'll make a coattail train.
Nice. Wait.
Is that like a drink or something?
Yeah. Sounds like a drink.
Cool 45.
Yeah. So one rule we made when we started, when we were going to design this podcast is no predictions this year because everybody does predictions. I already saw predictions online, which kind of
I predicted that will not be, somebody will break that rule.
This podcast will be derailed completely.
Yeah. This is the first
you won't believe the top 10 predictions if you click this link.
Oh, yeah. More to come.
8 is shocking.
Yeah, exactly. Couldn't believe number 4. So, yeah. So, what do we want to talk about? I mean, what was some of the big news of the year? I mean, it seems like the media and companies have kind of made up for lost time with the whole Juniper thing last week. Last thing I heard just recently is that binaries were compiled using 096C of OpenSSL, and there might have been a hardwired password that might have been a test password that they forgot to remove.
Well, I can tell you
that never happens.
So I can tell you when I worked for a manufacturer company that makes network devices and everything, they all have hardwire passwords, backdoors, basically just used to reset the equipment, right? So not a surprise that this is out there. It's just a surprise that I'm surprised that people are surprised by it.
Well, then that means that Juniper is completely lying about the origin of this, if that is the case.
Yeah,
but for that, you need physical access, right?
Yeah. And there was a good write-up today. I can't remember exactly who put it up, but they did kind of a breakdown of it, and they said with the way that this had to have gone in, it had to have gone through some kind of QA, had to have gone through some kind of change control. There has to be some kind of record inside of Juniper for this sort of thing. Yeah. And certainly when the issues came out with HP networking gear earlier this year, I think they went down kind of the same path, didn't they?
What, they try to have FUD like it was some kind of nation state thing?
Yeah. But in fact, it was something that some well-meaning code jockeys decided to put in to make their lives easier.
That's usually the case. But the question is, why did it take Juniper so long to figure this one out?
Well, they said it was found during a code audit. So,
right. But how often do they do a code audit? I mean, you had the whole thing is that you had a gazillion basically revs, right, that came out that they said that it impacts like 4 or 5 different rev levels.
Yeah, somebody put out a little chart that showed, because there's 2 different problems. One is an SSH backdoor. One is the VPN decoding.
So which one do you think is the worst?
well, what was interesting is that they weren't introduced at the same time, according to this research. And I'm sorry, I can't cite it. I should. I'm failing. But it looks like the VPN decoding was put in about a year and a half to 2 years before the SSH backdoor.
Okay.
Wow.
Well, I think the real question is, what Juniper's asking probably is, how could they have found this so quickly? I mean, that's the real question, right? From their point of view.
Well, having worked at a few manufacturers, sometimes the QA plan is, does it compile? Ship it.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah.
And if things get committed to the commit tree, people trust it. So if there really were bad guys who got in and found a way to commit stuff to a commit tree and it wasn't throwing errors, I think it's highly likely this could have gotten past their QA and their.
Well,
sure.
but
again,
that password, by the way, was intentionally set up to kind of blend in with the background.
Mm-hmm.
So don't lose sight of that either.
Kind of like you.
Yeah, that's true.
No.
But yeah, I used to work with Juniper and before them NetScreen. I used to deploy these boxes quite a bit.
So you were the culprit.
Exactly. It was all my bitching and complaining that caused this to happen. But I mean, there was one issue back in an earlier version where they made a whole raft of changes to how routing was handled inside of these devices. So where you could have more than 16 OSPF instances in boxes, all of a sudden out of nowhere, they went and restricted it. It wasn't in the documentation, wasn't in the release notes, even calling up tech support, talking to their engineering staff. They didn't even know it had been implemented, these limits, because, it just worked before and everything was fine. So yeah, they don't exactly have the best track record for this sort of thing. So I can certainly see where it could have slipped in through their QA process before. And now they're doing an audit on software that was released, I think originally in 2012, I read somewhere.
Yeah. Well, I mean that, putting those things in, if they put it in along with, a whole slew of other things, that might've been critical. Cause this is something that, I don't like using Black Swan or the cyber, my gods or whatever. But, I tell my company, I'm like, okay, we cannot depend on one appliance to be, as part of our layer of security. We can't consider it, we can't go, oh, well, we don't have to patch this because we have a VPN with, two-factor and whatever. Because that could have very well been our hair on fire moment at our office. I mean, the only difference is we're just using somebody else's gear, and God forbid, there might be something else. There might be the same thing on our boxes. So
So I saw a nice graphic that I thought it was a joke, and then I looked at it and it's like, well, it is a joke, but it's not really. What it says, the reason why it's a good idea to deploy security in layers or whatever you want to call it. And it showed like multiple firewalls, right? And I said, this first one to protect against China. This next one to protect against, government attacks. This next one to protect against faults in the system. I'm like, oh my God, I get it.
Well, that's the 9 firewalls. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was hilarious. I'm like, oh my goodness. This is,
So the news today is, I guess Cisco is announced they're starting to do a code audit on their stuff.
So
now that they have any indication of a problem, they're just out of abundance of caution.
Well, sure.
But on a serious note,
really interesting to see if some patches emerge from that. Right?
That's true. On a very serious note, well, inevitably they're probably going to find something else.
Absolutely
true.
But on a serious note, we looked really hard at running multiple vendors. Let's just pick on firewalls for a moment. And most of the research came out and said the lack of a competent skill set in 2 vendors. In other words, if you have one vendor, you usually are much better at it. When you have a second vendor, you usually are not as good at the second vendor, your secondary vendor. And typically the problems come from introducing errors in poor configuration and system administration of that second vendor, more than it helps you offset issues. Now, whether that's still true, that was true 5-10 years ago. So for many years, I sort of fought against that multiple vendor model because I think you're better off having one vendor that you're really good at running. But nowadays, I don't know.
Yeah. Back when I was running my shop, we had, for example, checkpoints as our big enterprise firewalls. Then we had a bunch of NetScreen/Junipers, internally inside in the environment. And they were similar enough that we were able to, swap skills between platforms. So that was kind of nice, but different enough where if there was a problem, say on checkpoint side, and we went from running it on Sun boxes to the Nokia appliances to generic boxes to something else, as different things would be introduced there, we had a confidence in what we were doing over on the other side. And then when Juniper would have issues, we could feel confident about what we were doing on the checkpoint side, but it made for a lot of administrative overhead in that environment.
So it got, I mean, and that's what it goes hand in hand with security, right? Security is basically more overhead. How many layers you put, it becomes more difficult. But you know what? Again, that's the field that we're in, right? I mean, how difficult do you want to make it? Well, you know, how secure you want your data.
Every time you add new components, like Andy was saying, you increase the likelihood that you're going to screw something up.
Absolutely.
And you know, and let's face it, you know, the things that bite us in the ass are not these, you know, backdoor passwords. They're the fuck ups.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Hey, this is a Christmas show, right?
Time code 20 minutes 59 seconds. Ding dong.
Yeah, no, I mean that's absolutely correct. A lot of the time you're dealing with we're dealing with, again, with the weakest chain in the link in security, which is, you know, people. We all know that, right?
Yeah, I'd be far more concerned about a tight rule base being run properly than I would about this sort of thing. Sure. I am wondering, though, now that we know about this, if we're going to go back in hindsight and look through logs and see if we find any sort of evidence of active exploitation of this in the wild.
Mm-hmm.
Well, how will you find that, for example, for the, you know, unencrypting your VPN encrypted communications?
Hell if I know, man. I'm just
exactly what I'm saying. What type of signal and what type of event is that going to create?
There'd have
nobody
to be
caught it.
Smarter guys than me taking a look. I don't know. Maybe unexplained traffic leaving. I don't know. That's a good question. I don't have an answer.
I want to see that on a CM product. It's like, oh, it's right here. It says unencrypted communication. You know, encrypted communication has been encrypted. It's like from China.
Made in China.
I'm guessing you won't be able to see that, but I suspect you may be able to see the exploitation of that password.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm hoping that if you do have Juniper Kit, that you've already patched your stuff by now.
Well, to be honest, many companies are in holiday freeze right now.
Okay.
Oh. Well, and another thing to remember is that the Screen OS boxes are being phased out by Juniper. They've been pushing folks to SRX hard for the last 4 years.
Okay.
So I wonder how many people are actually running this platform.
Well, yes. However, they really screwed the pooch on the initial launch of those SRXs. So a lot of people were very reluctant to move from, you know, the Screen OS stuff to the Juno OS stuff. So I don't know if they've, you know, fixed that, but I remember when those came out and Juniper was basically trying to merge the code tree and ditch the Screen OS stuff, and it was a nightmare.
Yeah, HD Moore had a good write-up on this on the Rapid7 blog. I'm trying to find the link for that. We'll have it on our show notes. He broke it down and reverse engineered all the fancy stuff and the things, and yeah, it was a good write-up. If he even had some snort rules in there. I don't know if it's to detect the SSH stuff only, or if it was. That's the reason I'm looking to see if it was the SSH or the decrypted SSL stuff. So. Yeah, we'll have a link to that blog post. So, all right, so we beat Juniper bad right now.
Yeah, we can move to
the real news is
the Hello Kitty.
Right?
Yeah, there you go.
Oh. I don't. Okay, so can somebody explain to me the Hello Kitty thing? Because I'm old and I don't understand the Hello Kitty thing.
If you're not Japanese, you can't understand.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay, I understand the Pokemon thing. You know the
Pokemon.
Come on, man.
I'm sorry,
you know?
you speak with. Did we lose? Yeah, we lost Paul. I'll add him back.
Yeah.
So yeah, I understand the Pokemans and all that stuff, but
yeah,
Paul was voted off the island.
Yeah, he's the weakest link.
He'll be back.
He was the weakest link.
Goodbye. So you can occasionally understand Hello Kitty after you've had a lot of sushi.
Okay. Well, I understand it's a kitty that is white, but I mean, is this like another one of the kid things, like with the VTech a bit?
Yeah, it's for all. Yeah, exactly. It's for all the. It's for children.
Okay, right.
But the question is, what type of database
creepy adults,
were they collecting?
Creepy adults.
And creepy adults. Yeah. So had they released what was in that database? I mean, why? Or is it your typical information? Username, passwords, credit card, stuff like that.
Oh wow. Okay.
I mean, I'm asking.
I don't think it has. I
Well-
don't think it has credit card. I think it's the email
I think it's the
address,
kid. Yeah,
password.
it's the kid's registration information for signing up with whatever online portal for interactive Hello Kitty stuff.
So that goes hand in hand with the VTech type of hack that happened a couple of weeks ago.
Yes.
I think VTech was a little worse in that it
Oh,
had
yeah.
pictures and audio recordings, and
Yeah.
I don't get the sense that Hello Kitty had that kind of data.
So you think these attackers are now going after the younger groups and
I can only assume that the attackers are now phishing the 5-year-olds.
because there's a book that I've been trying to finish, Future Crimes. It's pretty good, but it's very difficult to read because it's very negative. But in that book, this guy is actually talking about how the hackers are stealing the identity of young people, and because the young people don't care. They don't understand, right? They're like, hey, your social security number, here you go. They don't care what it's used for. And what they're doing is that then they have about 10 to 15 years to use stolen identities with those kids' names before they find out. So it tells a story about this mother who received, the kid is 19 years old and received this, went to apply for something, a loan, and they said, well, no, you can't, because look at all these cars that your kid had purchased and defaulted on. So I'm wondering, I'm like, are they going that low?
Well, I don't know. A couple of thoughts that come to mind is this could have been just an opportunity, thrill kill kind of thing that they just have to find it. The other thing, speaking to what you're saying, Edgar, is I've seen some parents starting to take out credit freezes on their children, which I think is a good idea.
Yeah,
that's fantastic.
I've often thought if we just had a system that made it easy to rotate our social security number when it was breached, we could stop a lot of these problems. But the government is not interested in that.
So you want to hear something funny? This is
funny.
Okay, then I won't say. But when I was with my company in Colombia, right? And so in Colombia you also have your social security number, but unlike here, that's secretive, right? Over there they use that for everything. Like you call a radio station because you're gonna participate for a prize, and they're like, okay, give me your social security number, and then on the air, blah 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 blah, and it's like, and your full name. This is my full name. Yes, perfect. Okay, you're entered on our database now for to receive the prize. And I'm thinking, are you kidding me? That's your identifier. And
but do they use it as ubiquitously as we do for financial stuff?
Like your date of birth. Yeah.
Yes. For opening a bank account, getting your credit card. When you go to a shopping mall and you buy stuff down there, they ask you for that number. And that's what they use to identify who you are for your mailing thing. And I'm thinking, like, dude, I'm not giving you that number. Well, I don't live there anymore, so I don't care. But yeah, it's incredible. It's incredible.
Was identity theft a big problem down there?
I'm pretty sure it is. I'm pretty sure that nobody has done any type of review. Now, there was identity theft yesterday on Miss Universe when they stole the Miss Universe from Colombia and gave it back to the Philippines. That was identity theft right there on the big stage. But other than that, I'm not bitter about that, by the way.
You got it to it before I could, but yes.
See, I don't know anything about Colombia other than from the movie Clear and Present Danger. So.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, at least you didn't watch Mr. and Mrs. Smith. That was pretty.
Okay, I didn't know that was in Colombia too. Okay, that's
cool. That was in Bogota. And you didn't watch Romance in the Stone? I know you're not old enough to see that one, but
no, I'm not. You're reaching back there. You just reach.
But the rest of the old guys that were here, we remember Romance in the
Stone.
Absolutely. With the pigs and everything on the.
I remember Kathleen Turner. You remember the pigs. What does that say about us, Edgar?
Oh my goodness.
Oh.
But anyway. So going back to this, I mean, to me, these two things with the VTech and the Hello Kitty, to me, is kind of disturbing, and I hope it's just like like Jerry said, hopefully it's just a one-off. Somebody thought that it was opportunity just to play around, but hopefully that's what it is. But we're cynics. We know that this infosec community, that the people are pretty bad, and I'm pretty sure they don't do anything just for the heck of it.
They're going to go after whoever they can. I mean, what did we have, like 5-6 years ago? They went after an epileptic website and made the screen flash, right? To give it, people who have epilepsy visit the site and, make them have a seizure potentially. They're gonna attack anyone they can.
That hack really shook some people up too.
Oh, dude, that's awful, man. This guy, Merry Christmas, by the way.
Merry Christmas.
Oh, my wow. Anyway,
that was defensive security right there. That was one half of defensive security. Yeah. So
what do you guys? So let's talk about something positive. What do you guys think that it was the best thing that happened to you last year?
As in 2015?
Yeah. No, as in 2012. Yes, 2015.
Well, the year's not over yet. When you say last year, that means.
Ah, okay. I'm sorry. I meant, that's my Spanish.
The year in review. What do you think?
The year in review. What do you think was the best thing that happened to you?
Go ahead. Good, Jerry. Go ahead.
Me?
Yeah, you.
You got bifocals.
Yeah, I got bifocals.
I can see.
I'm still here.
Oh, wow. You're still standing. So
that's right.
Yeah. So you didn't have anything good happen to you last year?
That was all good.
Oh, yeah?
Awesome.
Absolutely. Okay.
Well, since I started, I'll tell you. So to me, one is I was able to get a new job at IBM or IBM, as Paul told me that it's actually how it's pronounced. So that was pretty good.
Okay.
And then I found out that Jerry works at IBM too. I was like, oh my goodness, I didn't know. That's 2 for 1. So that was good because it allows me to do a lot of the stuff that I want to do professionally, focus in Latin America. So that's going to give me that opportunity. The next thing is that I able to start that international event next year, the Tactical Edge event next year. That's going to kick ass. And the third thing is I just finished. Just 2 days ago, I purchased a nice house, about 37 acres. So I'm like, yay! It's fantastic. So I'm very, very happy. Those are the 3 major things that happened to me, and I'm very, very happy. And
Got to start calling him Farmer Ed.
Farmer Ed.
Nice.
Actually, and the first thing that I told my wife that I was going to buy was a horse, right? And I was on a brown horse, and I was going to call him Guinness, obviously. And then I saw that commercial in Amazon, the with the little pony, the little thing. I'm like, I'm buying that mother. It's only about $550 for one of those little ponies, and you can get him around an hour away from where I live. So that's going to be one of my first purchases. It's a little pony, and I want to call it Guinness.
Well, plus it will have a hard time trying to run away. You could probably catch it, little Shetlands like that,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So anyway, so that's what I'm
fast. Where you live? Kentucky or something?
Tennessee.
What we're learning is that Edgar is a My Little Pony fan, apparently.
He's a brony.
Yeah, that's brony.
He's a brony.
There's a story behind that.
Very much so.
Oh man, I don't know. This is what happens when you share, and then
nobody gives back.
No respect at all.
Yeah. So, Mr. Boettcher, I know you've had some changes in your life this year. How about you? What are you happy about? What went well for you?
Oh, what went well? New job. I'm starting a company and
dude, what?
Wrote an app.
Wait. Back up. You're starting a company.
Yeah, on January 1st, right?
Really? Okay. So
the law have companies, right? You started a company.
Well, yeah.
So I figure I've always got to one up you. So there you go.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. Okay. Very nice. Is this because of the application you created?
You got it.
All right.
Nice.
So Andrew, how have you been this year? You started a new job too, didn't you?
I did. I started a new job in January. It's been going very well. Definitely very different. I moved out of sales engineering and into security architecture for a bank, and I've been enjoying that. Spent 2 weeks in Alaska and got engaged while I was there, so that was kind of a big deal. And I'm sorry to. I'm sorry to all of the women who I've now crushed their dreams, but I'm now engaged.
You should get Edgar to sing "To All the Girls I Love."
Oh yeah, actually didn't we sing that song before already, Paul?
We did. It's on, I think, like episode 8 or something like that.
And you know what? I want to be inclusive. I should say to the couple of guys who also are upset. I apologize.
Yeah.
Oh man,
Mr. Kalat is.
Did you propose on Mount McKinley?
No, we that was actually the plan. We were actually supposed to go flying on a flight singing tour and land on a glacier on
and then
Denali.
Obama changed it all for you.
He did. Damn that Obama. We were going to land on a glacier on Denali, and I was going to propose on the glacier, but the weather sucked that day, so we couldn't land on the glacier. We still went and did a little flight seeing, and then I ended up proposing on
Was the weather the only thing that sucked that day, or am I getting too personal?
Wow. So then after dinner, we went for a little walk on a trail by a river, and I proposed there instead.
Aw, that's nice.
And then nice. Jerry's mom sucked. So,
God bless.
Oh shit! So now you can tell Jerry for real, Jerry, I am your what?
Father.
Well, I was going to say earlier, you could spend a lot less than $550 if you want someone to ride for, just call Jerry's.
Oh, jeez.
This is no longer a Christmas episode.
Wow. Christmas time.
So I think that's all the highlights. Otherwise,
nice.
Happy and healthy. Everybody's doing good. Cruising along. Looking forward to next year.
Yep. Okay. Well, Paul, I don't know much about you, but how did you do this year? How did you make out?
I did fairly well. Changed jobs in January, like so many this year. So I've been very happy with the change. Doing a lot of international travel, a lot of international consulting. So that's been fun. I made a tactical error in that I brought Ed over to IBM. So now he calls me like 12 times a day.
Well, yeah.
So yeah,
because Jerry won't take my calls.
That's right.
Well, it's called call screening. And
I blocked him on same time. So
yeah,
it was like one time and no longer. I'm gonna make that mistake.
How do I fix WebSphere? Please help me.
I can help you with notes, Lotus Notes.
Apparently, IBM is like. I'm so sorry. Apparently, IBM is like being the Borg for infosec podcasters. It's just absorbing all of you guys.
Yeah, no, I ain't going back. I did Xerox. I ain't going back to IBM. That's awful.
Resistance is futile.
That's right.
Being assimilated.
So let me ask you a question with IBM. How are they with that? Do you have to let them know that you have a podcast? I mean, for the longest time, me and Mr. Boettcher kind of kept the whole podcast thing on the QT with our company. So how do you guys do that with them? Do you have to let the media relations know, or sign EA, or?
Yeah. So when I was going through the hiring process, I let them know. It was on the resume. I had put it in for extracurricular activities kind of stuff. And they thought, oh, yeah, this is great because we're going to have you in front of customers, blah, 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 blah. But then when it came around time for, I think it was Converge Detroit, we were presenting at that, and we were going to do our live podcast there, which was a rousing success. I tried to let the folks know inside of IBM, but nobody seemed to care. I couldn't find anybody that really was interested in the whole thing. So I'm like, screw it. Just go forward with it. So, I've got more engagements, speaking engagements coming up in the new year. The podcast is still rolling along. And yeah, I mean, customers and stuff, they seem excited about it. We throw in our disclaimer that, we're not speaking on behalf of the Big Blue.
We say EBM so that we're not.
All right.
Yeah.
But the cool thing is that whenever Paul is international, like in Mexico or in Belgium, people recognize him.
Oh, yeah?
They're like, we're like, you're the people that sing funny. We're like, yeah, that's us.
You're the ones that sing funny. Very nice. Very nice. Okay.
So how about you?
Oh, me? Well, I mean, I'm still working at my current job. We get around the company disclosure thing by just not talking about who we work for. So
exactly.
I think I've hired my replacement accidentally because he seems to be way more knowledgeable about pen testing than I do. if he's listening, you're probably going to be taking my job here in about 8 months, 9 months, because I'm just vulnerability manager. Anybody can do that shit, so. Yeah, so I mean, I've kind of gotten over the idea that I don't need to be speaking. So January 6th, I'll be speaking at ISSA Rainier. I've been invited to do that for the last couple months, and I was like, nah, I can't do that. So I'm going to go and talk about what I know. I'm going to talk about what I know is about vulnerability management. So I went to see the Force Awakens, which there's not going to be any spoilers. I'm just saying it's an awesome movie. But as I was watching it, I was like, wow, there's a lot of infosec topics I could talk about just from this talk, which kind of ruined it for me because I was like, man, I should be watching the movie instead of just thinking about vulnerability management. But yeah, it's going really well. I mean, I get to work at home. I got a little bit extra money this year, raising pay, which was nice. So yeah, I mean, and the podcast is doing well. I mean, we beginning of December we passed 100,000 downloads. So
holy shit!
Yeah,
congrats.
Awesome. So
congratulations.
We're up to 2 or 3 downloads, Paul. Is that what we are?
Yeah.
Yeah, but not simultaneously.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Well, to be fair, I credit Mr. Boettcher's script that downloads the podcast every 5 minutes. So there's that. So yeah,
it works.
Yeah, awesome.
You're the only one who hasn't changed jobs, Brian. What's up with that?
Well, I mean, I did in October of the previous year, so I'm celebrating 1 year of employment with my current job. So yeah.
So one of the things topic that always comes around the our industry is something that we discussed when we were at Derby, and I guess it's still fresh. When with a new job, is a lot of pressure, right? Trying to figure out what it is that you're going to do. Are you doing it correctly? Am I going to get fired soon because I'm not busy, right? And then I start worrying, and then I realize I'm like, if everything is true, what they said about the not enough infosec people and like hundreds of thousands available jobs in the industry. Is that true? You guys think that's true? That all those jobs are available?
I do. Well, it depends on your market. I'll put it that way. I'm in Atlanta, and not every job may be a job you want to do.
Yeah.
And we're lumping a whole lot of different jobs together. We lump, firewall admin and SOC monkey together with principal security consultant. There's highly varied skill sets of different jobs out there and different pays, and But yeah, I feel comfortable that if my job went away, that I could find another fairly easily.
What I've come to realize when they talk about the shortage of infosec skills, what they're really talking about are pen testers.
Mm-hmm.
Let's face it, that's what.
Yeah,
that's what everybody's talking about when they talk about cybersecurity roles. They're talking about pen testers.
No, you know what? That's a good example. We were looking for a pen tester, and we hired this guy over here. That works on my company, and my boss. I love my boss, and he's probably listening to this, and I love you. He's a very smart guy. There were some candidates that he passed on, and he actually initially passed on this guy because he didn't have enough reverse engineering experience and whatever. And I was like, look, I stopped short of saying, you're looking for HD more and you're not going to get HD more. I mean, you need to find somebody who's hungry, who wants to learn. And, we did find somebody who would have fit the bill, but he couldn't pass a background check. So when I met this guy online, I was like, okay, I've got a job that I think you'd be okay for. I just need to know if you... Well, yeah, Craigslist. Yeah, exactly.
And I thought that was a requirement as an infosec professional. If you don't pass the background test, that you're the one that we want.
Yeah.
No, I think you're bringing up a good point, which is, to be brutally honest, I see some people in the industry who are not talented and not good employees overall. We've had some contractors in at a couple of jobs I've worked at where, they spend all day surfing shoe sales sites, when they're supposed to be working on PCI. But I think there's such a shortage that we're desperate for people that we're hiring some unqualified folks or perhaps they have the qualifications, but they don't have a good, kind of soft skill set or good motivation. And
it's like Java programmers circa 1999, right?
It is, and so we're suffering, I think, because either the employers don't want to pay enough for the real talented people, but we have so many open recs that we end up sort of settling for subpar people, I think.
Yeah.
Well, so I read an article a month or so ago in a UK English newspaper, and it said that for cybersecurity experts, that there's positions or opportunities out there where you can actually earn £10,000 a day. I was like, say what? I'm like, I want to do research, find out exactly what it is that they want, and for the next 2 years, I'm just going to focus on developing that expertise, so that in 2 years I can go and apply for that freaking job. £10,000 a day. That's almost like a freaking professional football player in England.
That's crazy. That's got to be a very, very specific skill set.
You work for GCHQ, baby.
Well, one thing I found as well is that if you're willing to travel, 90 to 100% of the time, there's definitely plenty of opportunities out there.
Oh, sure.
But there's a quality of life thing too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Accenture, I mean, it's like you can do the virtual security guy for like 110% travel, But that's for, 18, 19, 20-year-olds who are, just have their degree type people who don't have a life, can wife and kids and can do that stuff, live in a hotel, 52 weeks of the year.
Well, or if you're like Paul, you're actually the world's best super spy, and then you're just using this international infosec gig. I mean, because he was in Belgium, right?
Wow.
Right during what was happening down there. It's like, you start piecing one-on-one together. You're like, damn.
See, and Ed's just proving again what a mistake it was bringing him over, because he's blowing my cover now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Can't take him anywhere.
Are you a sales engineer? Are you evil?
No. Thank you for asking.
Are you Andrew?
Yeah, are you ex-Andrew? He's reformed. He got better.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, no, I'm a SOC consultant. Companies want to build a SOC or want to build a hybrid or improve their monitoring and response capabilities. I go in and help them out.
Okay.
But to Ed's point, my situation's a little bit different because even though I'm in my 40s, I had my kids when I was quite young. They're now, in their 20s. And, I'm not in a significant relationship right now with anybody. So, I raised my kids when I was younger and now I want to go see the world. And so I don't mind being in a hotel room 40 out of 52 weeks a year.
That's cool.
So it gets me out there, it gets me into the world. But yeah, it's not the, shall we say, traditional path towards international consulting.
Sure.
So,
wow.
Hello. Echo.
Hello. Yeah. So, wow. That's we've managed to burn some time.
So did we start?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We started.
So a couple of people touched on this. I would be curious about speaking engagements or planned cons or stuff that you guys have going on and coming up this year.
Okay.
So a couple of things. One of the things that I realized when I was working at HP is that if I wanted to learn something new, there were two options, right? I can read all the books and everything, and then I will give up because, there's no reason, no end date, basically, that you have to know that by. Or you could sign up to do a presentation on that topic. Mm-hmm. And now you knew you had to go do the freaking research and understand what you're doing. Otherwise, you're going to look like an idiot. Yeah. So personally, something that I wanted to learn about is the famous zero trust network segmentation, right? Everyone talks about it and nobody actually understands what the heck they're talking about. So I'm doing research on that. And my plan is next year to do that. I'm scheduled to do a presentation on network segmentation at B-Sides Huntsville. And hopefully touch on that in besides Detroit or one of the other places where I ever get around sending the CFP. And obviously, very busy with the event in Bogota. So hopefully, a lot of people are going to go down there, and it's going to be good.
Very nice.
And when is that event in Bogota?
That's October 24th through the 27th next year. So plenty of time from Atlanta to Bogota round trip, $250.
Wow. Now, do I have to be a drug mule to get that rate?
No.
It's not
No, you just
required, but it is
No.
preferred.
Okay, good to know.
That requirement. No, actually, Air Spirit or some crap like that airline, $250, $300 round trip.
I'm not doing Spirit Air. That's the one where they make you all stand up and you have to pay to use the bathroom and stuff.
Well, so if you go with Delta, it's about $450, $550.
That's not bad.
The good thing is 4 hour flight, 4 or 5 hour flight from Atlanta to Bogota.
Very nice.
Not bad.
All you need is a catheter, and you're good to go.
There you go. Or Puro depends. There you go.
Yeah, very nice. Very nice. So, are Andy and Angie and Jerry, are you going to be doing any talks soon?
Mr. Bell?
I don't have anything planned other than my weekly show.
Okay, are you guys going to any cons? I mean, I'm waiting for DerbyCon to put their tickets on sale. Matter of fact, we interviewed. This is something next week we had Dave Kennedy on to talk about ISC Squared board member stuff, but he also gave us some sneak peek stuff on DerbyCon info. So,
Nice.
yeah,
Good.
yeah.
I am speaking at ShmooCon coming up in just a couple weeks
That's
in DC.
right.
Wow.
You were elected. I remember that Twitter storm. Everyone saying, rejected. I've been accepted. Rejected.
Yeah. It's probably easier to become a speaker at ShmooCon than it is to actually get tickets.
Yeah.
So I may submit next year.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I have never spoken at Shmoo before, and I have a love-hate relationship with Shmoo. I really enjoy the con, but I'm very frustrated with the logistics of getting tickets, as are most people. So end of the day, I'll be there. I probably will submit something to Derby, and definitely will go back to Derby. I'm sure that I will probably go to the local Atlanta B-sides.
So for those listeners who don't know, ShmooCon sold out in I think 4 seconds.
Yeah.
So if
4 seconds.
4 seconds.
Oh my God.
So that's how hard it is to get tickets.
I think the second round was 9 seconds, and yeah, it's craziness.
It had to be less than that because one click and I was like,
oh, sold out.
Sold out. Yeah, one click.
I wonder if somebody played with the API and was able to do some kind of bulk download or something. So, yeah, I thought about maybe going to Circle City Con just because we were invited by Odd Job and them last year at Derby. They said that they'd, maybe extend us a couple of tickets for that.
Well, they announced the tickets are on sale now, $100, so you get them now.
$100 ain't bad, yeah. Thought about doing that, but that's Indianapolis in June. So, lovely. So I mean, it's it'd be just it'd be good networking. So yeah, I thought about maybe doing that.
Well, you guys got to go to B-Sides Detroit and Converge Detroit. It's really good event, and and Ferndale. Paul takes me there, so it's pretty good trendy places.
I have been to the Detroit airport. It has a very interesting tram system.
Yes.
That's all I've seen of Detroit. So it's very
awesome.
Detroit is awesome as long as it's the airport. So yeah, we were passing through on our way back from our vacation in November. So
Jerry and I both grew up in Detroit.
Oh yeah?
You couldn't pay me enough to go back there.
Oh.
It's the same thing for me in Missouri. I can't go back to Missouri. Can't fly over state. Can't do it.
No, we both, my fiance and I both have family up in the Detroit area, so
Okay.
I do get back there from time to time. But
Nice.
And it is slowly improving. So just come back in about 20 years and we should have everything all set up for you.
I will say I have a lot of friends in Detroit, and they're like, "Detroit's coming back. It's awesome." I'm like, guys, you have to realize that when you're at the bottom of a 10-foot pit and you've made it up to 9 feet down, I understand you seeing progress. I'm still seeing a pile of shit. But,
well, you can buy whole city blocks for like dollars,
I really, and
that's what Paul did.
I don't know Paul, and I know he's in Detroit area, but I have this conflict with my buddies who are back there and like, Detroit's awesome. Detroit's all this. And I'm like, but have you ever lived in another big city to compare it against? No. Okay. I get that it's improved over what it was, but it's kind of like working at McDonald's. It's a dead-end job in many ways. You might eventually make manager. I don't know.
Very nice.
I know. I understand that I'm probably offending lots of people.
Just offended.
You just lost all
That's
your
right.
Detroit.
You're offending the tens of us that are still here.
I think I'm just bitter. I think I just had too many bad Detroit experiences.
Well, you know,
Well,
you're playing
I've
the
had
long
nothing
con.
but-
You know.
I had nothing but good experiences in Detroit, so it's been pretty good.
Cool.
Yeah, we're just gonna have to change your mind. That's all.
All right.
Yes, you haven't been hanging out with the right people. You got to hang out with the PVC Sec guys, man.
Apparently so.
We'll take you to Cuban places. We'll teach you how to salsa dance with brain surgeons, not the guy running for president, but really nice looking brain surgeons.
Really nice looking brain surgeons.
No Ben Carson.
It's a long story.
Yeah, it's a long
Okay.
Yeah,
story.
we don't want to lay claim to Ben Carson, so
Okay.
we'll move on.
Radio.
Yeah.
So let's maybe talk a little bit about our podcast. We're almost at about an hour now. Wow. Okay. So PVC Sec, what kind of bent do you guys go for information security? You guys what do you guys do for information security? I mean, it's not in your name. So what's PVC Sec other than a long construction
Piece of
material?
plastic.
Yeah.
So, and I'll take the first bit, and then I'll throw it over to Ed. So, when we started this, the PVC stands for passion, vision, and communication. So it was three pillars behind security leadership that we felt are needed in information security and are sorely lacking. It's hard to find a really good, true leader. We're not talking about a manager, but a leader, somebody that can make positive change inside of an organization to make their overall security posture better. So that was kind of the start of it, and we talk about not just information security, but we talk about leadership, we talk about communications, we talk about data science, that kind of stuff. And Ed, what do you want to throw on top of that?
Yeah, mostly we try to focus mostly on the professional aspects of what being a consultant in the industry is. Right, we leave all the technical stuff to defensive side guys to breaking security. Right, we don't want to. We can't. We don't feel we can't compete with you guys in that sense. So we go in. So we go in what we think it's very important based on our experiences, right? Dealing at different clients, dealing with other professionals, other consultants, and seeing the skills that they lack. Knowing that this industry is fraught with a lot of people that have a very insecure, which is kind of funny because very insecure on their skills and on themselves, right? So it's a way to help build that type of ego and let them know, everyone goes through it, goes through the same things, and it's just a question of working out. And so basically we just focus on professional growth type of thing.
Okay. Well, to use Andy's 10-foot pit method, if you go up to about 8 foot, you'd be doing just about as good as they're doing. So yeah, we're still getting there. We're not overly technical ourselves. So yeah. So for people who've never listened to Defensive Security, which apparently they're like the #1 most downloaded iTunes podcast at one point this year. What do you guys do on what's your secret sauce? Tell me what the awesomeness is that I can use on my podcast.
Copy and paste.
Oh, God.
That's right.
Wow. Either that or they just love the Your Mama jokes. So
Yeah,
just that.
I do think that security can be a bit of a dry thing, and I think we all put our own little bit of humor on. And I have gotten a lot of feedback that the interplay between Andy and I is what a lot of people like, and so that I think is a big recipe for success. The other thing is, there just isn't, and the reason I started this show was there just really is kind of a gap in a analysis from a blue team perspective of things that are happening, kind of current events, and so that was we kind of stepped in and filled that market, and I think we've certainly hit on something that is resonating with a lot of people. So
yeah, I think yeah, I mean, I joined after episode 29, so episode 30 is when I joined.
Right.
And we're up to what, 140?
This is 143 right here.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I do think, and I don't mean this, I think Jerry and I have been in the industry a long, long time. And we've done a lot of different things. So between us, there is not a ton of stuff that we haven't at least had some exposure to. And I think, at least I like to think that we bring some reality check to some of this stuff. I don't know. I mean, that's my perception, but self-perception is always skewed. So I do think it's a balance of trying to bring an unagended third-party view of these things, try to drive some lessons learned and some value from these things, and add some humor to it.
Well, one of the things that I like about the defensive sec thing is every day, like around 6 or 7 p.m. Eastern time, there's always a picture of the two of them doing something funny. I love that. I always look forward to that 7 or 6 or 7 p.m. Eastern time thing to see what you guys are doing. It's fantastic.
And I got to tell you, that camera adds a lot of fur. I got to tell you.
So, I have to say, one thing that has surprised me about defensive security is who listens. When I started this, my envisionment was something really focused at the kind of the blue team person. But what's and certainly that we do have that in the audience listenership. But one thing that I've noticed, and I get a lot of feedback in email and other venues, is we have a lot of newcomers, and I think one of the value adds that we bring, and I'm sure your shows do as well, is helping to kind of craft the mindset, of how to think about some of these problems, not specifically a particular answer or a particular position on a recent hack or something like that, but more the underlying thought processes that go into evaluating. How do you analyze things like this? And I think that's, as it turns out, where I think a lot of people are getting value. So
at least we hope.
At least we hope. Right? That's right.
Yeah.
It's so tough to self-evaluate what resonates with an audience and what doesn't. And I'll tell you, stuff that Jerry and I thought would be popular wasn't, and stuff that we didn't perceive to be a hit turned out to be. I think it's more luck than skill.
Yeah. Agreed.
How about you, Brian? Well, I also think it has to do with if you talk about what you like and there's passion in there, then people will definitely catch on.
That is why I talk about Jerry's mom.
There you go.
Everyone has a passion for Jerry's mama. Yeah. No.
Oh my god.
So
that's a good shirt. That's a good shirt right there. Oh my god.
So Jerry, let me ask you a question. Do you think in the last year, I mean, I don't know, I only went to DerbyCon, so my ideas kind of skewed maybe, but I saw a lot of defensive talks there. Is that new? And is that a new paradigm? Do you think defensive talks are going to become a newer thing? I mean, the rise of PowerShell is definitely a thing. But I thought maybe that would be a blue team would become more fun.
Blue team is not fun. Let's be really clear about that.
Okay.
Have you tried it? Have you tried it while drunk? It's a lot more fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, okay, fair enough, right?
Okay.
Normal blue team is it tends to be hard work. It's thankless. It's kind of it's the utility play, and I do think you're right. There have been, at least my observation is, there have been a lot more blue team types of talks. I don't think that necessarily reflects that blue team is being perceived as lots more sexy than it was in the past. I think it's reflecting just the reality of the world that we're getting hosed, and we've got to, as an industry, we've got to start getting better at sharing tactics and things that work.
Okay. Do you think like networking outside of the organization? Like I started, me and Megan Wu at Totenkopf on Twitter started something called CSEC East for an idea to get networking outside of the workplace. So every first Tuesday of the month, we go to a restaurant in the Seattle area, and basically under friend DA, we just talk bullshit and talk and hang out with other people and talk about our issues at work and how we can solve those. Do you think it's a networking thing, or do you think it just needs to be more outreach from like podcasters, for instance?
I think it's C, all of the above.
Oh, okay.
I think there's a lot of new people in the industry.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the one thing, just kind of going back to what we talked about, how there's all these job openings. There are a lot of job openings, and we have a major influx of people coming into the industry. And whereas if you were to rewind the calendar back a decade or so ago, when a lot of us got into information security, we didn't jump right in. We came from IT, and so we had long IT backgrounds, and it was kind of a natural progression. And I think now we have a lot of people coming straight in, and without some of this the kind of deep background in IT and operations. And so I think that these sharing venues are critically important.
Jerry, they've got a CISSP. What more could they need?
I don't know. That's a good point.
Man,
Yeah,
God,
so,
that hurts. That hurts.
Our engineer Timothy DeBlock, he's doing a couple of very nice things in South Carolina. He's doing the ColaSec, which is basically what you're talking about, Brian, getting people together at a certain venue, and but it's more for teaching than and less for hanging out and meeting, right? I mean, that's what my understanding.
Okay.
And he also started another one specific for people that wanted to get like the A+ certification.
Okay.
So again, get together a study group, and that's pretty good. The MySec folks, Paul is very familiar with them. Those guys, to me, the MySec people are the what you should copy something that is successful.
Yeah.
Don't start from scratch. Just look at what they're doing and see how you can bring that over to your location. They already did all the hard work, and they already know what works and what doesn't work.
Very cool. Yeah.
So how about your show?
Oh,
yours?
I already talked too much. Mr. Boettcher, why don't you talk a little bit about our podcast?
Well, it's more of a learning podcast as far as we'll take a certain topic and kind of take a deep dive into that topic. So, we'll talk about buffer overflows, right? And dedicate a podcast to that. Most people have heard of them, but, some information security professionals don't even know what a buffer overflow is. So I think it's important that a well-rounded security person knows what these things are. So we take a sort of a dive into those topics. And the only reason I'm there is so the show won't be like a bear trapped in a Kia or something like that, right?
Wait,
keep it structured a little bit.
Am I the
so
Kia
that our
or
show
the
notes
bear?
aren't just a bunch of links, so that it flows.
He's like,
bit.
read this. Bye bye.
Yes.
Less.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
So we're kind of opposites in that respect, but it works.
Yeah. It's we're kind of selfish because we want to learn just as much as we want to teach. So a lot of the things that we're learning is stuff that that we're teaching and stuff that we're learning alongside ourselves. I don't come from a coding and development background like Mr. Boettcher is. He's now a code monkey because he has an application that he does. His GitHub is available at some point in the near future for that. But yeah,
like on like buffer overflows. It's just, you said, Jerry, we most of us came from IT and we know what those are, but we've got an influx of new graduates, I guess, from infosec, degree plans, and they probably don't teach those lower level IT programming, computer science type of topics.
Yeah.
So I think it's important that security people learn and become more well-rounded in those topics.
Yeah, and it's not just buffer overflows. We've talked about BSIM in the last couple of weeks. We've got a talk, and then we did BSIM, and then we talked to Jay Schulman, who actually does consulting for BSIM, who went in a little more depth with it on us. We like to talk about things in the industry. We just did an interview with Wim Remus from ISC. He's just been reelected to the board there to talk about how certs like CISSP. How do they maintain and stay competitive in the world of offensive securities open OSCP, and how do they how can you use your CISP against a SANS cert, that kind of thing. Are they one and the same? What works for one doesn't necessarily work for another. So. But yeah, we try to do a little of everything: compliance, security, get to know a security tool, that kind of thing. So that's how we do.
Nice.
Andy's a security tool.
What? Of course, huge tool. Yeah.
And I use it to vulnerability test your mom.
I knew that was coming.
All of her open ports.
Oh my goodness.
What else you got? Come at me, bro. Let's go.
Oh my goodness.
All right. So, what's everyone doing for Christmas? Anything special?
Well, I just went on vacation back in November, so I'm not going anywhere, and I'm going to go on a 2-week vacation in March to South America for a cruise. So I can't really do anything right now.
I hear there's a really cool security conference in South America.
Yeah, but that's in October, man, and there's no cruise over there.
Yeah, I'm going from Buenos Aires, Argentina to Santiago, Chile. So
nice.
Ooh, good around pronunciation there.
Yeah. You're going around the South Pole, the Antarctic area. Cool.
Yeah, we're going to go to the Falklands and go and piss off some Argentinians, and
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So what's everyone else doing? Ed, what are you doing, man?
I'm just gonna wait to get my house. I get my house possession on December 31st at 5 p.m. I already told my wife that I'm gonna go there at 5 p.m. and I'm spending the night over there. She's like, but there's no bed, there's nothing. I'm like, I don't care.
Gonna crack some champagne or something?
Oh yeah.
Invite in all those tiny horses.
Yeah. A nice,
with them,
nice
ride them
Chilean
around.
wine. Yeah, exactly. Now I'm gonna have a nice Chilean wine and watch some movies and just hang out by myself in my new house.
Very
but
nice.
I'm freaking doing it. Other than that's my present to me. So
where do you live now, Ed?
In a small town, small town in a condo. So here in Tennessee.
Okay, so it's not too far away.
No, it's actually 10 minutes away from home. So I can go there, and then if I feel lonely or scared, I can just get in the car and come back.
Cuddle with the pony.
Basically, just ride Guinness all the way here. And so that's my that's my Christmas present, my birthday present for the next 30 years, because it is a 30-year mortgage.
Wow. Holy cow.
About a half a meal I put in there. It's like, so it's not going to be fun.
Paul, how about you, man?
So actually being back home in the States is kind of nice. So I'm going to go head down to South Carolina, visit some family, out to Chattanooga, Tennessee to visit some family, and then maybe up the East Coast to visit some more family. So just hitting the road again. I've been here for all of a week.
Continue his travels.
Wow. All right. So how about the defensive sec people? Andy, Jerry?
I don't have a lot planned. I burned most of my vacation on the Alaska trip, and Emily, my fiance, just started a new job. So we're just hanging out, enjoying Christmas at home with our cat.
Very cool.
There you go.
Yeah, I saw your cat. I have 3 white cats. You have like a single black cat. So
we do. Although there's a rumor that he may get some furry friends after the holiday.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, he needs company.
Jerry, I wouldn't call Jerry furry.
Hey, I've seen the pictures that somebody keeps posting. He seems pretty furry.
How about you, Jerry?
I think we're staying here. My family, most of my family's here. My sister, who still lives in Michigan, is driving down, and we're gonna have Christmas dinner here at my house, and then we'll have. I think the following weekend we'll have at my parents' house. So.
Oh wow, very nice.
Quiet and local. How about you?
And I think Jerry's turning 73 this year.
Oh,
Yeah,
God,
I do
man.
look really good for a 68-year-old, don't I?
I would say yes.
I would have said not a day over 25, but that's just me.
Well,
Yeah.
like the Peter Pan commercial. You don't look a day over. What is it?
Yeah.
73, 77. What?
God, I hate that. Oh, the kid just want to rip his face off.
Oh, man.
And I say this because Jerry has a birthday coming up, but I won't say what exact day.
I saw something on
December
Skype.
24th.
Did he? Is that real? The Skype thing? Because it came up yesterday on me. So,
I don't know.
was your birthday?
I don't want to reveal any personal identifiable information, but I will tell you that there is a birthday sometime in the immediate future of now.
Oh God, dude, that sucks. Really?
Happy birthday
Christmas
to
kid?
you.
Oh, I'm sorry, man.
I'm a tax baby, yes.
Oh, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
'Cause
my
it's
son's
like-
birthday was yesterday.
And now I
so-
have progressive glasses, so I got the whole old thing going on now.
Wait, how do you know
I thought you
what-
just got out of the wood shop and came in here and then, yeah, okay.
Wait, how do you know they're liberal? If they're
Well, they're not. They're not Republicans, so I assume that they're progressive.
Right on.
Fair.
Socialist. So, how did you handle birthdays when you were a kid? Did you guys just get one less present under the tree? Because I would assume that's what happened. It's like your aunt's
Basically, yeah.
oh, so you're missing some presents for Christmas.
Oh yeah. Stinks.
Yeah,
you're really touching on a hot button. He's going to cry a lot now.
Yeah.
I'm
yeah,
sorry, Will.
After we get off the show, I'm gonna go cut myself. So.
Oh,
Look what you've done. Look,
wow.
That's a very Christmas.
Trigger warnings. Okay.
Oh my god.
So I didn't ask Mr. Boettcher. Mr. Boettcher, what are you doing for Christmas? It's like 75 degrees in Austin this weekend.
Oh,
so it's gonna be
damn.
freaking.
Yeah, it is. I don't think we've hit 40 yet this year,
You suck.
right?
Yeah.
That's Fahrenheit. But no, just probably just staying home with the fam.
So you're not going up to Dallas to see the folks?
We may
Oh, okay.
go up to Dallas.
Right on.
Texas is a big state, so it'll take us a while.
Yeah. That 40 degrees Fahrenheit's about 5°C. I'm probably the only person other than Edgar on this podcast that can convert that properly. So
Oh yeah, tell me about it.
Yeah.
So I have a story, but I will say it later.
okay.
So
So
anyway,
So for the the people at home, how would everybody get a hold of the other various podcasts? We'll start with the new people, Ed and Paul. How would they get a hold of you if they wanted to on the internets, or where's your podcast located?
very very tenderly, please.
Go to pvcsec.com.
Okay.
That's our site where we post all kinds of useless information. And then on the Twitters, we're at PVCSec.
Okay.
And if folks want to have comments, questions, recommendations, topics they'd like us to cover, songs that they would love to hear us sing,
Oh wow.
do email us at comments@pvcsec.com or #AskPVCSec.
Oh wow. Okay. All right.
And we've had requests.
You've had.
Yes, many
And
of them.
we're sorry.
Okay. Well, as if they don't need any more help, how would Andy, Jerry, how would they get a hold of you if they wanted to find your podcast?
Our website is defensivesecurity.org. If you have compliments or constructive comments, you can email us at info@defensivesecurity.org. If you have criticisms or things you don't like, we actually have a separate email for that. It's actually comments@pvcsec.com.
Oh wow! Okay,
Absolutely.
Right on.
Yep.
Right on. Okay, very nice.
On the Twitters, I'm Lerg, Lerg, and Jerry is Malicious Link.
Okay. All right, and Mr. Boettcher, go ahead and give out your deets on how to get a hold of you if you wanted to on for Breaking Security.
On Twitter, I'm at BoettcherPwned. My last name Boettcher. PWNED.
Okay, right. So Breaking Security is celebrating its second anniversary on January 10th, I think, is when we've posted our first podcast. You can find us.
Yay, happy anniversary.
Well, thank you.
Yay.
We've have 100 and some odd podcasts. I didn't try to figure out what the numbering scheme was because it would have just made my head hurt. But you can find us at BrakeSec, BRAKE Sec. Please, I don't need to be emailed telling me I misspelled breaking because my last name is spelled BRAKE, like brake, like on a car.
So you misspelled your last name?
Basically.
Yes. No, I've actually been told on
Gotta be
LinkedIn.
rough.
I've been told on LinkedIn they wouldn't listen to my podcast because I misspelled breaking. I actually have a screenshot of that. It's quite breathtaking. Cheap ass. Anyway, so you can find me at Brian Brake, BRYANBRAKE, and we're on the TuneIn app. If you like TuneIn Radio for internet radio, you can find our podcast there. I post on Peer List. Apparently, Klaus and them. By the way, Klaus says hi. I forget which one. If it's Andy or Jerry, he wanted me to say that too. It's on Twitter. But he wanted me to say hi to you.
Hi, Klaus.
Hi, Klaus.
I'm assuming you mean Chris Klaus?
Maybe. I don't know. I'll find out. No.
Somebody else?
No, Klaus.
What are you talking about?
Howman, Houman.
Oh, sorry.
The one in Luxembourg.
I get it now. I was completely off.
Oh, man, all the hackers are in Luxembourg. Damn.
Right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
So we're on Twitter, www.breakingsecurity.com, BRAKEING security.com. And we're going on into our almost our third year. That's crazy.
Damn.
I never actually thought we would make it this far. So,
Well, thanks to Juniper and Cisco coming up. We're gonna be around for a while.
Yeah. No end of stuff to talk about.
Yeah. So I'd like to say Merry Christmas to all y'all. I'm glad we all got to meet at DerbyCon, except for Mr. Boettcher, who actually went and seen the talks for some unknown reason. So do you guys have anybody you want to thank? I mean, we have a few people we'd like to thank, but if you've got somebody, people you'd like to thank who may have helped you on the podcast or influenced you, it is the season.
Sure. So over on PVC Sec, we've got our senior baseball correspondent, Timothy DeBlock. We would like to thank. He's also our producer, engineer,
is he there?
Or that kind of thing. And he's got his own podcast as well, EIS. Ed, what does that stand for?
EIS.
No idea.
Enterprise Information Security?
Not quite. It's basically it's a nice beginner podcast around security, relatively short segments, brings in different folks from the industry and poses them some questions. So it's a nice starting off point for folks that are just getting into security.
Okay.
And don't forget Mr. Wolfgang for being on the podcast a couple of times while you were away, and Chris Magdalena, and everyone, the 2 or 3 people out there who listen to us and actually say hello to us when they see us around the events. I appreciate your listenership, and have a Merry Christmas and a wonderful, wonderful New Year.
Right on. Andy, Jerry?
Just say thank you to all our listeners and Merry Christmas to you. Thank you.
Absolutely. And certainly a special thank you to our Patreon donors. You guys are awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, right on. Oh, yeah, we have a Patreon, too. But, we're just going to give all that money to Hackers for Charity. So, Mr. Boettcher, do you have anybody you'd like to thank?
No.
Wow.
Bah humbug.
Wow. Okay.
No, I mean, we've got a large listenership. I say larger than I would have expected. So yes, thank you for listening. It means a lot, really.
Yeah, it's very humbling. Yeah. I have a short list. I'd like to thank all of our guests who've come on, who've given us the chance. Some of the folks who, one, didn't know who we were. some of them that I didn't even think had anything to do with information security, but was surprisingly good. Tim Wood, especially the ITIL talk we had, I was seriously not expecting anything to come out of that, but that was probably one of the more memorable podcasts we did this year. I'd like to thank Catherine Carpenter for coming on, talking about data valuations. I'd like to thank all of our Patreon people, all, not counting Mr. Boettcher, because he actually does donate to the Patreon. He actually donates to the Patreon. I'd like to thank all the people that donated $650 to be in the drawing for our tickets to DerbyCon. We gave away 2 tickets to DerbyCon and made $650 for Hackers for Charity.
Nice.
Yeah. I was actually surprised when I tallied it all up. Sorry we didn't get to meet any of them, but I'd like to just thank Mr. Boettcher for being here for 2 years, putting up with my ass.
Yeah, I am thankful for that.
Thankfully, we don't do a video podcast. Thank you, Mr. Edgar.
Sure, no problem.
Yeah. So, I'd like to thank Mr. Boettcher for, just putting up with me. Apparently, he's the Kia and I'm the bear. So,
yes.
Yeah. And
so you're deep inside him growling?
Yes. Oh, yeah. All the time.
And if you come to Tactical Edge, you may meet something like that.
I doubt it. I don't think InfoSec people look like that. I do, but
she's not in InfoSec.
Oh, right on. Okay. So, anyway, any parting words before we go?
Thanks for setting this up. It was fun.
Yeah, we'll have to do it again next year.
Hopefully, if anybody's still listening, they found it as fun as we did.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right.
I'm surprised that Andrew didn't send a special Merry Christmas message to Jerry's mom.
Oh no!
I found that very, very disturbing.
I'll do that in private later.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Well, everybody, you have a great holiday, great Christmas, Kwanzaa, solstice, Festivus, whatever. I don't know.
Merry Christmas.
So, happy Hanukkah, and for PVC Sec, Defensive Sec, and Breaking Down Security, this has been Brian as your kind of unofficial host, and hope you all have a great holiday.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
See you guys.